This is Out Loud and Laughing.
The smells of holiday are upon us, John, and the Christmas movies are coming our way. Are you excited?
I am. I don't know. Do you have your hot cocoa ready?
I have our hot cocoa ready because we have a special guest today, Robbie Simpson, who will be joining our pod from the newest season of Finding Mr. Christmas. Welcome, Robbie.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be chatting with you guys. Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is absolutely ours. You know, we have been so excited to talk to you. Of course, you're on Hallmark's Finding Mr. Christmas. If y'all have not seen this show, by the way, get to it like ASAP.
So cute.
We are talking.
So cute.
So cute. Brian, are you watching, by the way?
I am watching. I am caught up on Mr. Robbie's adventures on Finding Mr. Christmas.
Yes.
I know. I think you should all catch up on that. But before we dive into all things Robbie's Mr. Christmas journey, there are so many other things you've done. We want to talk about how you've gotten there and all the things in between. So let's just kick off.
Sounds
You
good.
ready? All right. You already wear so many hats. So for those who don't know Robbie, he's an actor, he's a director, he's an educator, and a podcast host, has had his own podcast. It's like you live within the both left and right brain, which is constantly firing off. So between all those things, how do you find the stability in it all, and do the hats overlap?
It's such a good question. And I'm so happy to talk about all of these other things that I do, because what you see on the show is, one thing, it's the acting side. But I've always been interested in how things come together. So much of my background is in theater. And I was always acting for a really long time. But then I did a production here in New York back in, almost 10 years ago, and realized, I think I want to direct. And then I started directing, and that quickly moved into producing. And then I was in Chicago as an artistic director of a nonprofit theater there, and then realized I wanted to get back to New York. And I feel like when you are an actor, you are like a piece of the puzzle, and you are helping someone else's dream become a reality, which is very cool. And I see being an actor as an interpreter of text and someone else's vision. But when you're directing or when you're producing, you are having that vision. And it's just a different skill set. But I love to jump back and forth. I just did a play this summer in Nantucket as an actor, and boy, was I so enjoying being on that side of things. Then right after I did that, I was back in London as a producer, helping one of our shows, one of our musicals, come to life on stage in London's West End. So it just was a totally different way of thinking and wearing those hats. And so that made me so thrilled to be doing Mr. Christmas, to be acting, but to watch Jonathan. And we can talk more about this later on, but Jonathan does that. He's an actor, he's a producer, he's a director, and he's doing that all on this show. And I had a front row seat to watch him do it. And it was one of the big things that drew me to the show.
Can't wait to talk about all things Jonathan Bennett, Brian.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we could talk a little bit about Finding Mr. Christmas too, because, I think what's exciting about Finding Mr. Christmas is that you're kind of bringing the queer joy to the genre that for so long felt very heteronormative. So what was one of the most unexpected sources of queer joy that you found when you were on set?
Well, probably the biggest was honestly Jonathan. I mean, he is just so proudly himself, and, in between takes or in between scenes, he just was always coming up and making sure we were okay. He said, do you have everything you need? Do you have your coffee? Do you want some food? Do you want some energy drinks? Do y'all need to take a break? He just was constantly taking care of us, but in that singular Jonathan energy that is what he's like on camera, which is just so unapologetically himself. And then also his dog was there on set, which having a dog on set or in the theater should be required, because it just brings the temperature of everything down. So, and also, can we just talk about how just Christmas in general is a little campy and gay? There's a lot of tinsel, there's a lot of sparkly things, there's a lot of gaudy decorations. So, and let me tell you, that house was decorated. It looks like what it does on the TV show, but times 10, because every corner of that house is decorated because we were on location. So I don't know. I also just felt this year that Christmas in itself is a little gay, and I'm here for it.
I am here for all things Christmas being tinsel, all the sparkly things, and Jonathan Bennett. The fact that Jonathan Bennett now has become part of that list is sort of all of my favorite things. Hey, random question for you. You know how when they vote you guys off and you guys have to take those stockings with you? Is there anything in the stocking? Do you know? I don't know. I hope you don't know, because then that would mean that you're not Mr. Christmas. But
Well,
what's in those stockings?
what I will say is that I think we were supposed to get those stockings, and I'm thinking right now, I haven't gotten I haven't received my stocking. We were all supposed to get them in the mail, and I haven't gotten one yet.
We'll get to the
But
bottom of it for you, don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of it.
but I know, justice for the stocking. But no, there's nothing really in those stockings because they'd probably just fall off the mantelpiece. But yeah.
That's so funny. So I know that you mentioned that all of the work that you've done has sort of laddered up to this moment, becoming sort of this North Star for a Hallmark Christmas movie. But you started performing on stage at such a young age. And I know for myself, and I know for so many of us in the LGBTQ community, finding our voice or even a sense of self, it happens on a stage. And whether that's literal or metaphorical, can you describe the first time you played any role that had a moment that you felt truly seen or felt authentically seen?
Yeah, what a really great question. Because in the show, especially in the second
Mhm.
episode, you kind of hear me talk a little bit about how I didn't feel accepted when I was in high school, like especially like by the jocks or by the popular football players. So specifically that episode and that moment of like me really being embraced by all of them and given that nickname and winning the challenge for my team was such a huge moment because that was not my experience. I was like a theater, band, dork, choir when I was in high school. So it definitely felt really vindicating. But the moment that I felt like probably was, I grew up in Massachusetts in the Berkshires area where there's
Mm.
so much art, there's so much theater, there's music, there's dance, there's restaurants, there's, museums, art galleries and everything. So I couldn't wait to leave this area when I was growing up, kind of a classic story and like move to New York City or move to LA. But now when I'm here, I'm so, I'm visiting my family right now here in Massachusetts. And I'm so grateful to be here and kind of see how that has all become a part of me. And a lot of the work that I do and the taste that I have and who I am is so informed by just growing up in a region of the country that just had so much arts engagement and nonprofit arts and everything like that. And one of those theaters is close to where I grew up, and it's a professional equity theater here, Regional House. And I
Hmm.
got paid to do my first show when I was like 14 years old, and it was A Christmas Story. Wow, Christmas is really a theme in my life. And I just felt like my parents saw me in a new way because I was doing this professionally. Like it wasn't just a community theater thing, which no shame on community theater. I love it. It's what I grew up on. But I think that them seeing that I was finding success and that I was entertaining other people, and it was kind of the joy and both of my parents feeling proud of me that I was doing this art, but like on a high level, and I was so committed to it and I was practicing and it meant so much to me that I think I would have to pick that just because we all want to make our parents proud. And that was, I think, a big moment for me.
I love when you say that because the one thing that really stood out to me in one of the episodes was when you said, I'm most nervous about letting people down, but I'm also nervous about letting myself down. And so, how did this experience help you be your authentic self, right? You're the only gay man on this cast. And so, like, how did you deal with that?
For sure. I think what we hear all the time, whether you're in theater or television or you work in a corporate job, just be yourself, be authentically you. But like, what does that even mean? Do you
Mm.
know, like, be yourself? Because a lot of times we're just put in these totally unnatural experiences or inhuman experiences and then just expected to be yourself. So I think breaking that down is like, what are people actually looking for when they're saying be your authentic self, and how do we do that? Especially how do you do that on a television show where there's 8 cameras being pointed at you, and you're doing all of these, you're dressed as a reindeer being hoisted 30 feet in the air for a photo shoot. How do you be yourself? But I think, and this is something that I really learned from the show, is how to do that. I think for me, it was really about listening and relaxing and just understanding that like I got on this show, this opportunity was presented to me. And let me tell you, I felt like getting onto the show was like winning that could have been the show. Like I
Yeah,
was just
totally.
watching Dallas Cowboys, that cheerleader documentary on Netflix. And I was like,
Mm.
holy crap, like we really made the team. It feels like the 10 of us made the team. And so just trusting that like I was there for a reason. They wanted me and whoever I was to bring myself to the show because it's a big honor too. I also felt like Jonathan and our producers, like they put so much time and energy into this show and care about every detail. And Jonathan and a couple of our other producers are gay men, are part of the LGBTQ plus community, and feeling like I'm the only one, like I want to represent them well. I want to do the best job that I can. And that doesn't necessarily equate to like winning challenges, you know? It actually equates to just like sitting in those confessional interviews and being honest and saying like, this is how I'm actually feeling. And this is what I'm actually thinking about what we're doing, because the people at home are probably also thinking that too. Do you know? And for me, it's the more that someone at home who's maybe queer or, you know, sitting on the couch with their mom, like, you know, watching me can feel like they're relating to me. And if they're relating to me, then they can see a future, you know, of being happy, living in New York, getting married, having kids, you know. So it was about, I think, being honest with myself and in those interviews and on the show.
I think that's such an interesting take. So thank you for sharing that, Robbie. I also want like it's very interesting because you're doing this show, but you also have like you've navigated different parts of television, right? You were on General Hospital for a little bit, and then now you're on Fighting Mr. Christmas. So just a sillier question, like what's the biggest, most absurd difference between surviving a cat fight on General Hospital versus trying to win a holiday competition on Hallmark?
It's a great question. Let me tell you about soap operas, okay? Because I was not a soap opera watcher before I did the show, but those women who have been doing so, you know, specifically, I guess, General Hospital for like decades, they are incredible. They are incredible. They have an incredible work ethic. Those women are incredibly smart. I mean, they would get a rewrite from a producer, like, you know, up in a booth, and they'd get a new page. They would look at it for, I'm not kidding, 15, 20 seconds. They would put it in their bag. Oh, thumbs up.
Yeah.
They would put it in their, you know, their handbag or like where the camera couldn't see it. And then they would do the scene and were so committed. So, you know, making choices, fully realized characters in these scenes, and it was really impressive. So when I'm doing Finding Mr. Christmas, and let me tell you, when they hand us those scenes, we really only have 15 minutes to memorize the scene, you know, do all of that work that, you know, we want to do on it before we actually do the take. And then you only have one take. So in so many ways, doing General Hospital really prepared me for Finding Mr. Christmas, because it is really
Interesting.
fast paced. You know, you really only get that one take. And that's why I feel like theater prepared me for General Hospital, you know, because you are live, like you're there doing it in front of an audience. And that's very much how it feels. So it does feel like one thing led to another, And honestly, you know, it's all about having fun for me. And we were having nothing but fun on that set of Finding Mr. Christmas, which I feel like is really coming through in the
It
episodes.
definitely came through.
Yeah, it totally came through. I thought it was really interesting that you like we're sort of in this world with a lot of different men who identify differently, like straight, gay, of different nationalities, of different backgrounds. And it really brings me to this idea around traditions and how Hallmark has always been about traditions, and to start to see people like us show up in that story of traditional holiday storytelling and celebrating and having sort of like people like yourselves and Jonathan Bennett. It's really great. I'm really excited to sort of see this next generation. I remember sitting on the couch watching Hallmark TV with my family during the holidays and throughout the year as well. So kudos and thanks for bringing us this really awesome content.
Totally. And it just is continuing to do the same thing that Hallmark has always done. Hallmark tells love stories. And so we are telling love stories, do you know? And I also love that it's not just about being gay, or it's not just about like
Yeah.
two men. It's just like sometimes there just happens to be a gay secondary character, and we're not talking about, you know, anything other than the relationships that these people are having. So it just feels like it's a natural progression of what Hallmark has always done. And now, you know, we're seeing them do it with people who look like the people on the, you know, on the street in the world that we live in. Very beautiful people on the street, but it's a much more accurate view of what I think America looks like, and I think that they're really seeing that that's taking off and being really embraced.
It really is. And Robbie, like I said, John and I are caught up on the episodes and they've been really funny. I need to dive into one moment with you because I needed to put it on pause, rewind, and check again. Did we say beautiful jerk girl in one of the moments when we were trying to do a script? Because I was like, wait, did he say that? That is amazing.
Yes.
I was like, ho, hold on, Robbie, what just happened here?
So we did that scene, and I was like, after we finished, okay, let's just like break it down. They are really like giving you those scenes. We're getting on skis. Thankfully, I've skied before. A lot of the other guys haven't.
Clearly.
And I know, so bad, so bad. But, and there's so many cameras there, and it was the first day, so, like, all the Hallmark executives were there. I mean, I've been doing television. I did a Hulu show, I've done shows for ABC and FX, and, there was so many more cameras and so many more people that were on that set than I have ever been on in my life. So, in that and of itself is stressful, and usually when you're on set, you already have the job. But here in Finding Mr. Christmas, we're like competing to get that job. So there was a lot of nerves, but I remember finishing that scene on the skis and being like, wow, I nailed it. Like really, really went well, feeling so good. And it wasn't until months later, I mean, like 4 months later, Jonathan FaceTimed me and he was like, do you know that you call her a jerk? And I said, no, I don't. Like, I don't do that at all. Like, I had no idea that I said it. None of the other guys brought it up to me. Like, it was not something that anyone had said to me. And then sure enough, when we watched the episode, I was like, oh my gosh, I call her a beautiful jerk girl. And jerk was like another word like in the next sentence. So it like wasn't like totally out of context, but it was so bizarre. But you know what? Like I'm embracing it. I'm like making it like my Vanjie moment.
As
I'm
you
just
should.
like
As you
let's get it
should.
on some merch. Like, like T-shirts
I
with
want the
beautiful jerk girl.
shirt. Beautiful jerk girl. That is
Totally.
me.
So I'm just embracing it and like running with it. So because Janelle Parrish is anything but a jerk, but she is definitely beautiful.
In a more redeemable moment, right? There was a challenge where all the guys got to sort of like dress up as Santa and then like give us why like the relationship like of their version of Santa, and yours just touched my heart. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Brian and I talked about dogs a lot on this podcast, and I thought yours was special.
100% I can talk about that because
Yes.
what I talked about in the moment when I was presenting my Santa suit didn't actually make it onto the episode, like didn't make the edit because there were so many of us.
Bring it here.
So here's the thing. So I grew up, my mom always like showed dogs and she bred dogs. So like Labrador retrievers, we would have like a litter like every year and a half or 2 years. And dogs were like a huge part of my growing up. And then my mom actually won, and I have the ribbon downstairs, won a first place blue ribbon at the Westminster Dog Show in New York City. Like, and it was like such a
Hey,
huge deal. Like,
That's big.
Big
guess what?
deal.
And then my dog, Nellie, who actually just came in here to check out what I was doing, is like the love of my life. Like she's my little girl. We like do everything together. And so dogs are a huge part of my life. And I just am like, come on, like the dogs need their own Santa. Do you know, like
Obsessed.
Santa paws or claws for the paws, like for all those dogs. But I just feel like they didn't, on the episode, you didn't get to hear my like connection with how much pets and dogs mean to me. Like she is my daughter. So, I just love her so much. And that gets to just, I think, know a little bit about me. When you meet someone who like talks about their dog, you're like, okay, I can trust this person. Like they're a dog person. Like it just happened with me earlier today, actually. Someone was like, oh, my dog. And we were talking about their dogs. But if someone's not a dog person, I'm like,
Red flag.
right, yeah, total red flag. Total red flag. So
100%.
it just helps you get to know them. And I thought it would help audiences get to know me. I think people were thrown by the little dog ears that I had. Like, they're like, are you trying to be a dog? I was like, no, I'm not trying to be a dog. I just thought that was creative and made sense to me in the moment. But I feel like the shorts that I made are just not getting enough credit because like I put a lot of time and energy into them. And they were like, I think like really cute in real life. Although I have gotten some DMs about how cool the shorts were. So maybe they'll be in a Target near you.
I mean, that brings up an interesting question, though. How much crafting was involved being on this show? How much did you have to craft yourself?
It was those festive face-offs were those challenges we do in the beginning. They were either like a physical competition, like you saw with the slingshot presents, or it's like crafting. So they just put out a teaser for the next episode that we're doing at Gingerbread House, or those Santa costumes. So like I'd say like every other episode we're doing something that involved crafting, and like being the gay person on the show, like I felt like I did have a little bit of a advantage from the other guys going into those. And that's so fun. Like I love being creative. It's like what I do in my regular life.
Love it. Well, we love that every episode we're learning more and more about you. But we thought to kind of wrap up today, we would do what we're going to call the Holla Gay fire questions with Robbie and just get like one word answers based on the two options we give you, just so we can get a little flavor for who Robbie is. So I'll let John kick off first.
Ooh, all right. Well, let's just go easy. Winter or summer?
I'm going to go with summer because my birthday's in the summer and I just like always love it. Yeah, it's such a blast.
I agree. I'm a July baby.
July
Hot chocolate.
14th, when's your birthday?
Ooh, 26.
Cool.
Okay,
Very cool.
Leos. I
No,
didn't know
he's
that I was gonna be
Cancer.
ganged up again. Oh,
I'm a
Cancer, you're
Cancer.
right. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Okay, Robbie, hot chocolate or eggnog?
Does the eggnog have anything in it? No, I'm gonna go hot chocolate. Hot chocolate.
They
Okay.
both do. It's the
Yeah.
Oh,
holidays.
perfect. Yes.
All right, Robbie. Silent Night or Silent Disco?
Silent disco, 100%.
Mhm.
They're so fun.
I
You ever
So
been to
agree.
one?
fun.
Yeah,
Yes, I have. They're so
love
fun.
them.
All right, this one's tough because I don't know my answer for this one. Glitter or flannel?
Oh, that's so hard. Like, I'm gonna need some context. I think I'm a flannel person. To be honest. You know, like I'm more. I wear more flannel than I do glitter.
I think we might need to create flannel glitter, and
I'm in.
Flannel glitter.
I'm on it, y'all. I'm on it. All right, tinsel or garland?
What's the difference?
I don't know. Somebody help! Send help!
I think tinsel in my mind is like the strands of stuff that you like
Yes,
put
very
on, and it
glittery.
like kind of goes everywhere.
And the garland is like the big, beautiful swags, if you will, I guess.
Wait, or is tinsel the rope, but it's glittery, and garland is like
the green.
the green, like the vegetation.
I don't
Mm.
know, but
Either way, I'm gonna go with the garland. I like the green vegetation. Okay,
I-
I'm
it's
just
a
glad
little
you didn't ask Judy Garland. I don't know.
Judy. Well, that's why Judy
That's why.
Garland. I feel like tinsel is a little gayer though, but I'll go with the garland just because it's like so classic and gorgeous.
I agree. Okay, so you're coming from a set with a bunch of men. Scruff or no scruff?
Definitely scruff. Definitely scruff.
Mm.
And I always do have like a little bit of scruff. Like I have like a little bit today. But on the show, they were like very much not like wanting like clean shaven. So I was like, oh, that's like hard. That's like hard for me. So I'm definitely a scruff person.
Okay. Then I'm gonna go city, like because you live in New York and you're back home now. So I'm gonna go city or the burbs. Where do you prefer?
Oh, it's such a good question. And you know what? I bet everyone thinks I'm going to say city, but I'm actually going to say suburbs right now because I am like I'm like kind of going back and forth a lot from LA to New York right now. And it's like totally fun. Don't get me wrong. But being up here in Massachusetts, I'm like, I just like slept so well last night with like the window open, and I'm like going to get in a car and like drive somewhere after this. And that's so nice. So I'll go
little
suburbs
peace.
right now.
I love that.
Do you like
Yeah.
LA? Do you do better?
It's a good question. I definitely love New York better.
Mhm.
I do love LA though. I think I'm a rarity. I think if you're one or the other, rarely do you have an appreciation or also like both. So like a lot of New Yorkers really do not like LA. A lot of people who live in LA are like, I could never do New York, but I could definitely do both. I went to grad school in San Diego, so I feel like I was there for a few years and got that Southern California addiction. I get it. I get why people live there and they're very relaxed and happy.
I'm with you, Robbie. I lived in LA. Now I live in New York, and there's qualities for both. I agree. We can have both.
For sure.
Okay, this will tell a lot about you, about your Christmas. Real tree or fake tree?
Oh my gosh, you're so right. You know, I'm just going to imagine that like I have a staff who's dealing with the tree and that I am just looking
not?
at it. So I'm going to go real tree. Although no, like I'll carry it back. I'll carry the tree home and then, someone can put it up. But I always had a fake tree growing up, and I think I always wanted a real tree. And in New York, I've had real trees, but they're a lot of work. But I could totally see myself, when I'm getting older and having kids, like going back to the fake tree because I think it's pretty convenient. But today we'll go real.
Naughty or nice? I'm just gonna fire off some extras here. 'Cause I'm
Okay, cool.
interested.
Nice. Always really lead with kindness.
That's nice.
Do you prefer
Brian?
Santa or the elf?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna say Santa because if I say not Santa, like I might not get any presents this year.
Fair.
Very on brand. I like it, Mr. Christmas. Hot toddies or dirty martinis?
Dirty martinis.
Okay.
That's good. Okay,
Blue
our
cheese
last
stuffed
one.
olives.
Blue cheese stuffed olives. John's a
Yum, I
fan.
see you.
Blue cheese. Okay, the last one. Would you rather wrap it or rip it?
I love giving presents, so I will wrap the presents and see the joy on people's faces when they rip them open and enjoy them.
Well, we're just gonna keep that on the naughty. We're gonna keep ourselves on the nice list. I'm sorry, not the naughty list. We're gonna keep ourselves on the nice list this year and not take that as a euphemism for anything because we are very, very on brand here at Out Loud and Laughing. Hey, Robbie, Honestly, thank you for taking the time and hopping on Santa's sleigh to come all the way down here just to talk to us. We're so grateful for it.
Happy to talk to you guys. Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of the show. There's a lot of fun stuff coming.
Yes. Thanks, Robbie. We'll chat soon.
Thanks.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.